Now there is another form of explicit wait that is called as fluent wait, right? So fluent wait is another form of explicit wait only, right? It has nothing to do with implicit wait. So in fluent wait, all the conditions remains the same, but at times it may happen you need to add additional exception messages for your wait. You may need to add some additional polling, right? You may need to skip some exceptions that we got when waiting for an element, right? So a number of conditions are there with fluent wait as well. So as in, if I talk about explicit wait, you remember that we have given this 5 seconds, right? So this cannot be minutes or days or any other thing, but with the help of fluent wait, we can change it to time unit, seconds, milliseconds, minutes, days, hours as well, right? So fluent wait, if you look over here, fluent wait, you're going to find it in the Java document. This is what your fluent wait. So fluent wait can be implemented. There's a syntax for it. So fluent wait, you can achieve it using wait equal to new fluent wait. So you can copy this code from here and implement it over here. So just comment out the explicit wait part and import this fluent wait and the wait interface, right? So now if you put a dot over here, there are a couple of methods that you can call. One is with timeout, then polling every 5 seconds, ignoring no such element exception. I'll just copy it and I'll use it as it is, right? And Control F, just give me a moment. So this is basically time unit dot seconds. You can provide time unit dot seconds, time unit dot seconds, and import this no such element exception from this class. Okay, so it is showing as deprecated. Could we just give me a moment? If I remove the type, yes, still it shows as deprecated. So although it shows deprecated, but still you can use it. You can add a suppress warning as well, but no need to add this thing. Let's see, in Selenium latest API, they may have mentioned that it is going to be deprecated or not. So I don't think that they have mentioned anything over here. Yeah, it shows something deprecated. And let's see what all other methods are there. Polling every is deprecated. Exactly. With timeout is not deprecated. With timeout, duration and time unit is deprecated. Set how long to wait for equivalent condition to be true. Okay, through duration. Okay, there are some changes in the fluent wait, but deprecation means that in future they may gonna remove these methods. They are not going to support it anymore, but these methods are still active, right? If in case you want to use it, you can try using other things as well. But first, let's try to understand the concept of this fluent wait, why this is implemented, right? These things are not errors. These are just warnings of deprecation. So 30 seconds, I mean, instead of just second, I can use it like millisecond and like microseconds and other time units as well. And polling means, see what happens. If you don't give polling, if you give 30 seconds over here, you may not know that in 30 seconds, how many times it may gonna hit your element in order to find that element, right? It may gonna hit your applications and application n number of times. But you want that in 30 seconds, it should only try to find your element 6 times after every 5 seconds. So you give polling every 5 seconds. Then till the time element is not found, it should ignore no such element exception, right? Or whichever exception you may want to ignore. If you want to ignore no such visible element, like element visible exception or interactable exception, what all exceptions are there, you just need to provide that in ignoring over here, And then the same condition will gonna work where you're gonna use wait dot until expected condition this, and then gonna pass the condition using send keys. It is throwing some error. Let me see. Okay, it needs to specify the type as well over here, WebDriver. So once we specify the type, the send keys error will go away. Right. So this is what the syntax that we should be using when we are implementing Fluent wait. So along with Fluent wait, we can define the polling, we can define timeouts in seconds and different time units, and then we can ignore our exception like this. Now what happened when we use it, wherever we are using, all these conditions will now gonna follow this. If I say wait dot until, so this will actually gonna follow this thing, whatever that we have given over here. So if I run this now, let's see if it will gonna work. And addition to this, I can add some of my message as well with message. So I'll say timed out after 30 seconds. Right, this is a user defined message. So if in case you want to see this message, then say user defined timed out after 30 seconds. So if an element is not found within 30 seconds, it will throw an exception. So let's try running it, and before that, what I'll do, I'll make it to 10 seconds because it should not wait 30 seconds, it's quite big. So what I can do, I'll just incorrect one of the element over here to some, like I should incorrect the XPath of this element, so that immediately we're gonna get some exception, and like after 10 seconds of waiting for this element, then we'll get that exception. And I want to see whether the user defined message is printed or not, and whether it is waiting or not. See, it is waiting. It is waiting for this element. And then we got an exception saying timed out exception, expected condition failed. See, user defined timeout after 30 seconds. This is what we have given in the message, right? So this is how you can add your own custom messages as well. And if you don't ignore this no such element exception, if I just remove it from here, and if I run this, it will immediately error out. Okay, give me a moment. Let me run this again. See, after going to Gmail, if it won't find the element, it immediately errored out. Right, so we need to wait for that. See, no such element exception thrown. We don't want it to throw no such element exception. So that's the reason we'll ignore it. Right, and now if I correct everything, if I correct this thing as well, and if I run this, this will work absolutely fine. Right? So it works absolutely fine. And let's try this thing on Firefox as well, because I want to be I want to make sure that things are working fine. The script that we are writing should be very dynamic, should find everything on both the browsers, should not fail on any of the, because Firefox and Chrome are the one which are very frequently used. So let's see if it fails over here or not, or if it works fine. See, it works absolutely fine. So the code is working absolutely fine on both the browsers. So this is what your Fluent wait is, which is one form of explicit wait only. Right, so if you thoroughly follow these implicit, explicit and Fluent wait lecture, then you should be able to handle synchronizations easily when you are automating a website. And these things will only going to come till the time, you start writing this code with your own hand, right? Just don't watch the lecture, pause it in between and try to write the code on your own, right? Try to write the code with your own hand, then you will be very much comfortable in writing this code, right? So that is all in this lecture, and then in the next lectures we're going to see how we're going to deal with multiple elements having same ID or same tag, right? And we'll try to handle some complex elements as well. But before that, let's try practicing something on CSS and XPath, which is again very, very important. So the next section, we're going to talk about completely on what is XPath, what is CSS, what is the difference in XPath CSS, how we can handle dynamic element, complex elements, what all tools are there in the market through which we can generate XPath, which will help us in automatically generating these XPaths, right? Or CSS. So that is what we'll be looking at in the next section. All right. Thank you.